Welcome back to The Bridge on WSAV. You know, when you're in the process of buying a home, there may be a lot of questions that you need answered to make the process easier. Well, that's exactly what we're talking about with our coastal expert, Teresa Cowart of Teresa Cowart Remax Accent. She joins us now. It's great to see you, Teresa.
It's great to be here.
So, you know, it can be overwhelming when you're buying a home. I can remember myself going through that process, but you guys are there to answer all the questions because you answer these questions every day.
Absolutely.
So you make it so easy. So let's jump right in. What should a buyer consider? You know, we live in a coastal area, one of the prettiest areas, I think, in the southeastern United States. What should a buyer consider when buying a beach or waterfront property?
Flood. I mean, you really need to know about flood insurance. Yeah, that's probably one of the biggest things that we run up against when we're talking about waterfront property, even though our flood maps have changed recently. So a lot of homes are not in a flood zone anymore, or not in a flood zone that requires such a high premium. But yeah, you need to understand flood insurance, because I don't think a lot of people understand flood insurance.
And I think some people just think that because it's Savannah, everybody needs flood insurance, but that's not the case at all.
Everybody's not required to have flood insurance, but does everybody need flood insurance? I always, it's kind of like the title insurance. I just always encourage everybody to get flood insurance whether you need it or not, because there are things in your policy in the fine print that may not be covered by your homeowners but are covered by flood policy.
See, and of course, I just learned something right there, and that's why she's our expert.
Sorry.
Okay, so we live in a military area as well. So what can a military family do to prepare themselves to find a home remotely?
If they're doing it remotely, they really need a great realtor. I know that on our team, we do a good bit of this. It's not my favorite thing to do. I like for people to see, touch, feel the home before they actually buy it. But a lot of times we do have military folks that are coming from overseas and they don't have the luxury of that. They can't fly here, time, money, whatever it is. So you need somebody who's going to go FaceTime with you, or going to take a video and send it to you, not just of the house, but the street, the neighborhood, and give you all that information up front so that you can make an educated decision.
And you've had a lot of dealings with the military.
Sure.
And have no problem with that whatsoever.
No, I love the military. Yeah.
So what happens if I don't want to sign a buyer's agreement?
The buyer's brokerage agreement, it's not required. If we are representing you, then at some point I'm going to want you to sign that. It doesn't even have to have a dollar amount in it. I think most people get scared with it because it has a dollar amount that the buyer owes, even if they decide to go somewhere else and use another agent, then they still owe the first agent X amount of dollars. But for me, I hate to say this on TV, I put $1 because I don't want anybody to feel obligated to work with me if they would rather work with somebody else. So,
you know, there are a lot of agents out there that would never make that statement, but you know what? That's why I always say you are so honest and so humble about your work, and I can appreciate that so much, and I know our viewers do too.
Well, that agreement actually holds me accountable as well to actually represent everybody, whoever signs it. So obviously I want to do the best job I can, but sometimes, if it's a personality conflict or I don't know what else. I've not had to do that very often.
Okay, so when buying a new home, what upgrades should we go for? What holds the most resale value today? And I know the trends have changed over the years when you're thinking about this. So when buying a new home, what upgrades should we go for, and what holds the most resale value?
You need to think about things that are going to be hard to do later on. So if you're going between like granite versus laminate, or a French door refrigerator, you need to do the granite, because that's what's going to have the more value, and it's going to be harder to do. There are some things that are just hard to do after you move in. So I would suggest you do that as opposed to this. So if it's appliances and those kind of things, I mean, you can always change those out later, but the actual finishes of the home, are important.
So you need to, it sounds like you need to think more in terms of aesthetics and everything,
Right.
and this specific home structure and that kind of thing, as opposed to appliances and things
Right.
like that. Because as you
Right.
said, those things can be done at any time.
Anytime, yeah, anytime. But yeah, flooring, anything that I know, like in my house, I plumbed it for a mother-in-law suite, even though I knew I wasn't going to do that right away. But I went ahead and did the electrical and the plumbing when we built the house, so that when I decided to do it, it was easy.
Mm-hmm.
If I had done that afterwards, it would have been horrible and disruptive in my life and cost twice as much. So you kind of have to think about the future when you're thinking about what's really important.
And of course, these are all things that you want to think about. And when you're thinking about buying a home and you have those questions, you want to make sure that you deal with an expert. And we urge you to deal with our coastal expert, Teresa Cowart of RE/MAX Accent. Thanks, Teresa, once again for being here and for all the information you provide us and our viewers. It's always great to see you.
It's a pleasure.
If you'd like more information on Teresa Cowart of Teresa Cowart RE/MAX Accent, just go to our Coastal Experts page. You'll find that at WSAV.com.